Y'all see me still?
Yes.
All right. Well, good evening. This is Carissa Marie with Be Free and CarissaMarie.com. And today is a very special day. I have Miss Karen Brown here and Miss Audrey Renee here. Sorry, Audrey, I just said Audrey Renee because I'm looking at it on the screen. So we are excited to have these two ladies with us. And I got a lot of positive reaction last time we had Natasha House and Miss Karen Brown on. So this is a very special treat. And I'm so excited and delighted to have these two ladies on tonight.
Thank you.
You.
Yes. So, well, we know Miss Karen Brown, but for some of you all who may not know, I'll have you guys tell me a little bit about yourselves. We'll start with Miss Brown.
Okay. I am Karen Brown. I'm the executive director of the Natasha House. I have been with the Natasha House since God shared the vision back in 2000. We were about 12 years old. I was homeless with three boys and a veteran, and I didn't have anywhere to go with my children. So I ended up giving my children to other people. And I was a member of Faithful Living at the time, and the church was in the process of um, obeying the vision God had given the pastor, Pastor Borum, to build a home for hurting women and children. So I became the poster child. I'm the first graduate of the program. Uh, though we did not live there, I did do the program. And so I am excited, honored, and blessed to be a part of what God has told us to do, and that's build bridges to wholeness one family at a time. What an honor.
Awesome. Miss Audrey.
Hello, everyone. Sorry, I switched cameras on you.
I
My
call
name, my name is Audrey Perkins. I am a former resident of Natasha House. I actually celebrated my 5-year anniversary,
Woo!
Hey.
and now, moving forward, I am a administrative coordinator at Natasha House and a part of the leadership team there. So exciting.
It is exciting. Audrey's always I think I've already told Miss Brown how valuable Audrey is. Audrey knows all the things. Always like she's just coordinating. She knows all the things. Now I'm looking over here on my other screen because that's where my cheat sheet is. In case you're wondering what the heck I'm doing, that's what I'm doing. Normally I print it and have it in front of me, but I'm like, no, I'm going to be high tech today and look at my screen. But it really
All right.
looking rude here. But so you know what? I was so excited. I love both of you ladies, but Miss Audrey, I went to the appreciation breakfast
Yes.
and on Saturday, and I sort of had to hold it together. I had no idea that you had overcome so much, and and that just speaks to your character and where you are now and all those things. I was so like, my heart was just like smiling, and I was just like, she's just out here living a life, right? But so not to I just because I want other people to hear what I heard as far as tell me about it. And we're gonna talk about why you were successful because the program works if you work the program. That's key. The program works if you work the program, but you have to be in the mindset and you have to follow the rules. I mean, there are rules in life in order to have a successful program. But please, 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 if you don't mind sharing with us your story.
Yes. So, just to kind of not take up the whole time with my story,
You know what?
I
We don't have an end time
okay.
to You're free.
Okay. I was a resident of Tasha House 5 years ago. Me and my daughter. She was probably around 2 or 3, and that night I was actually I was sleeping on a relative's couch, and I was supposed to move out by June 1st. I remember the date exactly, and Natasha House has a process, so I had an interview that night, and that night I met with two of the people that were there, which was one of them was Miss Brown. And I remember telling them at the table, because one of the questions they asked is why, should you be, a resident here at Natasha House? And I said, because I just need a second chance. I said, I just need a second chance to get on my feet again, and when I shared that with them, I remember leaving out, because what's funny is God is good, because I packed my car that night to give you this. God told me that I was going somewhere, but I didn't know where I was going. And so I packed my car that night way before the interview happened because I had to move out. So I remember getting rid of stuff just so I can pack my car, because my plan was to sleep in the car. But God's plan was that night after my interview, I didn't even think they were going to call me or anything. And immediately that night, Miss Brown said, you can go ahead and move in. And me and my daughter slept in a bed. And it was a beautiful feeling to be in that space. I will say, in all honesty, I was ashamed to be there. I was ashamed and embarrassed. I didn't let people know where I was living. And my goal was to hurry up and get out of there. I had a lot of pride as a mom because, you got yourself in this situation, right? You take the full burden of that. And now you're just trying to get out of the situation. And so what Natasha House made me do actually within the first 48 hours is, I remember me and one of my former residents, we were in there typing in the computer, and we were like, we got to find jobs. We got to hurry up and get out of here. That was the mindset. And I remember Miss Brown walked in the door and she was like, what are y'all doing? And she taught me the first time what it meant to rest. In that season of my life, it's a whole different ballgame in this season, but she taught me what it meant to rest. And we were just trying to, rush. We were trying to rush out of there. I didn't know Natasha House was a program. I didn't even know all the things that Natasha House was going to present to me. So when I moved in, I was immediately introduced to sessions. We had counseling for me and my daughter. So I would attend my counseling, and then my daughter would come after me about 15 minutes to do her counseling. We had sessions, financial literacy. Never really knew about money. I knew how to make it, go to a job. I knew how to spend it, but I never knew about money. And at that time, I had lost 2 apartments, not because of my negligence with money, but because I didn't know how to save for a rainy day because I was a new mom. And we went to literacy class, and somebody from First Advantage, she taught us how to save. And I remember the feeling that I got, because she used to make us save and we had to account for it. The feeling that I got when I saved my first $1,000. Didn't touch it. It was there. And it was actually, in the future use for my place. But we had accounting lessons. We were bringing our binders. We had black binders, and I still have mine to this day. And I met all of my goals. I'm really excited to tell this story because it's really amazing. So we had financial literacy class where we learned how to save money. We had classes where we got to come together as a group and learn about each other as women, because I think a part of me, along with pride, I thought I was better than everybody in there too. Because it was like, I know what I'm doing, and I just needed this, to get me. So I would look at those women like, oh, like, and it humbled me because God was like, but y'all are all in the same house. No matter what the story was or the situation, you were still sitting and, in front of the person who was there in Natasha House too. And I began to embrace those women. We're still connected to this day. Every woman that I stay with in Natasha House is still connected to this day. And I learned how to embrace them. I learned how to be a leader in my own right. And I learned I learned from them, about myself. And we had social workers who came in who offered guidance so that we could get a lot of stuff done, so we could stay on top of our goals. And I officially met all of my goals, even the goals that I wrote long term. My long term goal was to save $10,000 and start my business. And I did that. But I did it when I left, but I was still a part of the outreach program at Natasha House. But when the pandemic happened, because of that first 1,000, I was able to learn not to touch my money, and I saved 10,000. And when my daughter needed me to stay home for virtual schooling, when the world was in chaos, God allowed me to be equipped for that moment where I could stay home with my daughter, start a business that literally helped me financially during that course of that time. And I had money sitting there, so I wasn't worried about my household. And I got to invest into my business. So all of that came from Natasha House. And when we were doing our accounting books, I learned how to do my books for my business because they were accounting for every dime and penny that we spent. And it exposed us because we were spending way too much money in food, or we were doing way too much with clothes. You know, it exposed our financial things, and it was embarrassing, and it was unraveling us. And I didn't like it. I remember it was a question that Miss Brown had in our book. She's like, what is the thing that you're most fearful of moving here? And I said, seeing myself in the mirror, the things that nobody can see. I'm scared of seeing that. And each session, each financial piece, it led me to being who I am today. Um, Being able to account for so many things. I learned how to package groceries. We had a garden, and I loved gardening. My residents would get mad because I would be up in the morning gardening, and they would be like, "Why are you waking up? We're going to get in trouble because you're waking up gardening and we're not doing it." And they started gardening with me, but it was therapeutic because as I was putting my hand to the plow, I was uprooting things inside of me as well as uprooting weeds inside of a garden. And so everything was literally God driven and God orchestrated. Every piece and every place that was there was helpful to me. Um, I got to see that I spent too much money on stuff. I got to see myself in the mirror when it came to other moms and my comparison or thinking I'm better than someone. I got to see, that I didn't know financial literacy. I got to see all of those things, counseling, the postpartum that we experience as moms that we don't even know how to handle, going to counseling sessions. And I believe that because I submitted myself to the process, I submitted myself to the things that were uprooting. I submitted myself to look in the mirror at myself. I believe I graduated successfully um, because of everything Natasha House did. Everything was a stepping stone for me. And then to be able to come back later and be a part of the other side of Natasha House, it's beautiful because now I get to see the hands and the feet and the body that keeps Natasha House going. I can't imagine. Natasha House has been around for 12 years, and I can't imagine that God knows the end from the beginning. So my mind can't even fathom this, but he knew that I would need Natasha House. He knew that I would need Miss Brown. He knew that I would need everybody who was there overnight. It was like he orchestrated something that was far beyond what I could see or probably what Miss Brown could see. And it just worked so well together. And now I get to be on the other side of the vision and building it and expanding it. That's my heart. I want people to know what Natasha House does. And like I said, I'm a graduate, right? So I submitted to the plan. She gave us these black books. We wrote our goals down. We got our financial things. I submitted to the plan, and it hurt, and it didn't feel good. It was very uncomfortable because people was in my business, unwrapping stuff and but it was so
sometimes you didn't
needed.
want to unpack some things. Some things you want to keep
Yeah,
to your chest.
exactly. You want to hide those things,
Yeah,
okay?
yeah.
But I'm grateful because I would not have been able to fully go after my goals. And I wouldn't have been able to know what a community feels like. And I wouldn't have been able to know what it means to ask for help. So I'm grateful for the Natasha House because I didn't know I was gonna need it.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and the process has been beautiful from there.
So I'm just like I told you how I feel when I first walked in, and but the feeling though, and you are so you are very humble, and but you are a leader, and I know it's just like, but it all happened how it was supposed to happen. I think
Yeah,
what makes me sad is that there are people out there that need this help,
yeah.
but are not fully submissive to the process. So,
Yeah.
Miss Brown, tell me about what that process is.
Okay, well, the first part of the process is the two-part interview process, and that's calling to do a housing request and then have a pre-screening done. And then once the pre-screening is done and you're determined to be eligible, then you get the application. And once you fill the application out, then you receive an email to get a background check, and also to contact the Urban League to have your financial assessment done. And that's where they do a soft pull of your credit, and they write out all of your debts, and then they put a financial plan together for you, so that when you come in for your interview, you bring that with you. And so at the interview, we talk to you about the potential resident questionnaire answers that you have put down. We do a SPDAT, and one of the social workers will do a mental health assessment. And that assessment is just to determine your ability to live in a communal setting, your willingness to work toward and set the goals that you put in your contract of goals, because that's a part of the application packet. They put down all of the goals they have in all the different areas. And then also, if you are able and willing to submit yourself to get counseling, because counseling is required in order to deal with any traumas or anything that you've packed and stuffed over the course of the years that have caused you to be in the predicament that you're in. And then once we do that, we get that background check back, and the background check is to determine that whether or not you have a domestic violence, active domestic violence case, because we can't take them, and to determine whether you are a pedophile or a sex offender, or if you are a violent felon. And in that case, we can't take you. And so once all that's done, then you are selected and you come in under 30-day probation. And at that time, the social worker meets with you and works with you to set those career, personal, family, and financial goals. You get the pre-move in, you get the rules. You also find out about your curfew. You have 3 days to get acclimated to the families and to the routine of signing in and out of the kitchen, signing in and out of the building, and then that following Monday, because we do move-ins on the weekend. Then you start the process of writing down your short-term goals, the action steps to achieve them, set the day up you're going to meet with your social worker, and then the sessions begin. And they're 6:45 to 7:45. About 20 days in, the social worker will meet with that mom to see how well she's progressing in her plan. We call it a homemaker's empowerment life work plan. That's where those goals go. And so if she's having some issues, maybe she's not signing in and out like she's supposed to, maybe she's not coming to the sessions on time, maybe she's not getting up at 7:30 in the morning, which is the wake up call, then we'll meet with her and we'll put some interventions in place to make sure she gets the help she needs to be able to be successful. And then after 30 days, we meet with her again to see how she's progressed and determine whether or not Natasha House is really a good fit for her, based on her willingness to, as Audrey said, submit to the process, because it is a process and it's a program. And if it's determined that she's not willing to do that, I like to debunk the myth that we put people out. We don't. What we do is accommodate their choice. And they always have a choice. And if they choose not to follow the program and they are determined to do it their way, then Natasha House is not a good fit, and it's not the place for them, because you really have to be willing to work toward your career, family, personal, and financial goals. And you got to work that program. You got to help us with the garden, the seed to table. You have to help us with Made for a Cause or other entrepreneur business. You have to be a part of that Natasha House family to help keep the grounds up, keep the house clean, obey the curfews and those kind of things. And we give the weekend, they have the weekend to themselves. And because we have modified that program since the pandemic, we partner with workforce development. So there's a core group of classes that they hold, and they offer core certification courses they offer that gives the moms an opportunity. They pay for the training, they pay for the books, and then when they pass the course and pass the certification for that particular field, they give them $1,000 stipend and help place them in a job. So they need a career, not a job. So it's not a walk in the park. but I'm telling you, it is what they need. And the key to it is accountability. We do hold them accountable for the things that they tell us they want to achieve.
You know what is sad in our reality? Because we have the Audreys who go in and are ready to, and even me. It could be me. But you have to be ready and have your mind right and know and accept the help and follow. It works. The program works, but you have to follow what is set in place. Unfortunately, there are people, because we're human, that make choices to their own detriment that are not going to be the best for them necessarily. And then we have fallout. Because recently there was a crazy situation from what I hear, and it's sad because it doesn't help the people who need to know about Natasha House really understand what it's all about, and it just puts
Right.
our taste into people's mouths. But it really is. The program works, but it's about choices.
It
What
is.
you want to do
Choices.
and how you want to grow. It's your choice.
It's your choice. Choice and accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of the things I love. There's a book out, it's called When Helping Hurts. Because we have all these ideas about how we can help people, but the bottom line is, if I'm helping you, what's that Chinese proverb or the African proverb? If I give you a fish, you eat for one day, but if I teach you to fish,
Yep.
you'll eat for a lifetime. It takes the whole village, but it takes also each individual's willingness to commit to the change. And the key word is change. There
Mm-hmm.
has to be a change, and that's work. And so it's not always a pleasant thing, but I like the public to know we work hard as we can, but we
Mm-hmm.
should not be working harder than the moms in order
Right.
for them to achieve their goals. And so if someone has to be exited out of the Natasha House because we have to accommodate their choice, you better know we've tried 6, 7, 8 things to make sure that she can be successful. And Audrey is a perfect example of, yeah, I didn't want to do it and didn't feel good, but I did it. I wanted to achieve something different, and I just made a decision that I was gonna do something different. And so that's the key. If you wanted something different, you can't do the same thing that you've always done. You got to change.
That's like I talk to my kids about this all the time. What is it, you guys? You've heard that saying. It's insane to do the same thing over
Right.
and over.
Exactly. Exactly. If you want a change, you can't do the same things that you've always done the same way. So, but we
It doesn't
we
work.
kinda, we accommodate that sometimes as a as a nation, as a community. We make it easy sometimes for people to be able to continue in a cycle that has to be broken. And I'm all for helping. I'm all for giving them the resources they need and all of those supplies and everything. But I also know that if there is no accountability, why would I change? Why would I
Right.
do anything different?
You know what? And just little old me. But as I listen to all the things that you do, I'm like, we could all benefit from those lessons. Think
Yes.
it's amazing. Can you imagine how much better or how much more confident young girls or women would feel?
Girl.
You know what I'm saying? Just like knowing
Yeah.
how to balance your finances,
Yeah.
or actually getting some counseling and breaking
Yeah.
those things
Yeah.
and your mindset's being stuck. I mean, what you guys do is life
It
changing.
is.
Life
It
changing.
is. Learning about your health, because we have a health a module. They learn about nutrition. They learn about healthy eating. They learn their knowing their numbers, what a good blood pressure is, a good heart rate is. They learn about all of that. They also learn about the proper things to feed their children. They get some creative art activities and just all kinds of nice the whole woman, the whole child, and that way they're whole. 100% whole. And so, but it's work though, and it's commitment. And
Yeah.
we kind of lack that in this society. We make excuses for each other, but it's like you can make 15 excuses for me, but you're not helping me. You're hurting me.
Yeah. That is big. I'm gonna see if I got some more cheat sheets here. Hold on one minute. Printed it. However, I did not print it.
Yeah, that's okay.
Okay, this one is just I like to ask, and Miss Karen's already been through this, but um, so Audrey, what your two-part question? What moves you and what inspires you to live out your what you love to do? Because we haven't really talked about your entrepreneurship. We know that you have, but like, tell us about that. And then we want to talk about what do you do for self-care. We already know Miss Brown likes to dance.
So my business is called Curse Broken, and it is a family business because we want to start having the conversations amongst our family and generations to start breaking the curses of mentality, addiction, abuse, and all the things. So it's a business, but it is very much a ministry. And we go off of Galatians 3:13 that God already took the curse on the cross, but our job is to make sure that we walk his word out, and make it a living word in our lives. And so the brand goes all the way down to my daughter and can go to some all the way to someone's grandparents, or because the conversation needs to start. And I think what inspired me was I started my conversation at Natasha House. Between me and my daughter, we've already triumphed in a lot of curses that we've broken, from the financial stepping out and doing my business, the, thing that I desire to do that I know I'm capable of doing, and seeing people wear the brand and talk about, what they are receiving from it. And so that's what inspires me to step out and do it. Also, I want to challenge single moms. My heart has always been for single moms since I started the journey because I once was judgmental against them. And then God, you know how he does. He he changes your whole perception around. And so now I get to be an advocate for them. I get to, speak up, but I also get to show them that they are capable as women, not the title of just a single mother, but you're on a journey as a single mother and you're more than capable as a woman to go after your dreams still and to do what inspires you and to help another mom or to help another woman. I wanted to be confident, to let women know that I didn't have to subject myself to my past. And so I walk in that in my fullness as much as I can. What do I love to do for self-care? I love being in my home. I really do. I think it's funny because when you leave the transitional house, you now have to transition out of a space that was once community and family, and everybody's cooking in the kitchen. And then it got to be me and Amara, and I was like, "Who's gonna cook? What are we doing here?" I tried to stay actually after a year, but Miss Brown was like, "You have got to go because you have outgrown and you've moved on and
Yeah.
graduated." But I wanted to stay another year because I just, I had gotten, I wanted to save more money, and I just loved, the
Yeah.
atmosphere. So, but when we got home, I think I had to learn how to make this home. I had to learn to find another resting place again. And so there was a chair I sat at in Natasha House, and I used to wake up early in the morning to sit in that chair, and I used to look at the sun. It wasn't like a pretty view of anything, but I just used to admire the silence. And I have that same thing here. I have a little space. I have a plant now, which I never thought I would have. And I'm learning about a plant because I used to garden. And so taking that plant in my home and just the plant's name is Gina. And me and Amar just love our plant, okay?
The
And just
plant has a
sitting,
name,
the
Gina.
plant has a name, Gina, yes. And just sitting and just I watch the sunsets now. I have a better view now that I did at Natasha House, but I don't think the purpose was for me to have a better view at Natasha. I think it was for me to change my view.
Yes.
Um, that I didn't need to see something physical,
Mm.
but that me sitting in that chair was a resting place for me, and I could see the changes that I was doing within myself,
Mm-hmm.
and it was beautiful. And so I created that same space here, and then me and Amar began to decorate our home. My home was fully furnished by Natasha House. Everything in my home was fully furnished, so I didn't have to worry about trying to figure out where I'm going to get stuff from. That worry that people have when they first get their apartment and they have an empty apartment. My
Yeah.
house was filled and it was blessed. And ever since I stepped foot in Natasha House, I've always been blessed.
Mm.
Blessed, blessed, blessed. I can't say I stepped foot in Natasha House when I committed to that process. God would continuously show me constant blessing after blessing after blessing, even being outreach, even being on staff, just blessings and family. Family. I feel like Natasha House is a place where I've learned community and family.
Mm-hmm.
And it's beautiful and it was overwhelming. And the only person I will say, because I went to counseling and they broke me a little bit. And my social
Mm-hmm.
worker, they had an idea because everybody loved Audrey because, I was on my game. I was on my game. But when I stepped into Miss Brown's office, she, I knew that she could see past what other people could see.
Oh.
And I knew that was God. And it was like she has this, whatever you, whatever you didn't get, that grandmother, that mother, she gave it to us. And so much laughter, so many tears at that desk. And sometimes she didn't have to say a word. We would just sit there and immediately I start crying. Um, because I knew that she was loving me in spaces that I didn't receive love at as a woman. And so it really helped because we stayed in her office. It was like we were constantly in Miss Brown, and she probably never got any work done. I don't know how she did it. Because we kept going, like we were little girls showing up to our grandma or our mom's office, and it was like, hey, we got some exciting news to tell you, or we did this. And so Natasha House inspires me that if God can give a vision and he could know the end and the beginning, not knowing who was going to be a part of the vision, and watching Miss Brown do what she does with so much passion and so much grace
Yeah.
and so much strength. Um, it lets me know that I have the blueprint to do the same thing. That the way God moves with Natasha House through her, I have the blueprint to do that same thing and allow God to move in me, and create another Natasha House, but in my own way with Curse Broken, and allow that to be a ministry.
Mm-hmm.
And so yeah, I'm inspired by that. So my little corner where I sit at, I just love it there. I open up my window, and this time I have a sunrise, sunset. So I get to watch, just,
Wow.
watch it. And I get to,
Yeah.
just be in that space, be in silence again and think and, feel the presence and be present. And that's been a beautiful thing that I've taken with me. And I do love to dance, to get my energy out. I do love, I'm a writer. I actually just finished publishing a book. My father passed away in
Oh,
July. And
in July?
yeah, recently in July. And the first place I went to was Natasha House. And it was so much healing there.
Mm-hmm.
Um um Miss Brown and her husband are beautiful to me because I remember looking back at my father's funeral and they were standing right there. And because I don't know how they do it. I sometimes think that they are ninjas because they always seem to be exactly where you need them to be magically. And I remember seeing them and I remember hugging them. And it was just a little reminder of, family all over again, community. That's what I got from Natasha House. And it's beautiful, and you'll fight it because when you've never felt an overwhelming love, you'll fight against it because you don't know what it is. So you'll fight against it and push it away. But knowing that I could come back there in that space at that time in my life and come there and laugh again smile again and help out and get love from Miss Brown and Lamanda, who works with me for Champs, and I enjoy them so much, and it's so much healing for me. So it's like God sent me right back to Natasha House to heal from that and embrace grief in a way that I haven't done before. And so I released a book called Embracing Grief, with just my journal entries, trying to, push other people to write and find therapy through their writing. And so, yeah, it's Natasha House has, I'm grateful for Natasha House in every way possible. I can't say it enough. I think people probably think like, and she's just saying that. No, I've experienced the seeds of Natasha House. I've experienced um, just the beauty and the growth there, the growing pains, and
Yeah.
getting to see the beauty there too. And so it's family to me. And the fact that I'm still connected to my residents, the people I live with, shows that. One is an entrepreneur. She's married. She just had a baby, and we saw each other. And we're hugging. Another one, called me today and told me about her new baby girl, and I get to see them still doing what they said they were going to do,
Mhm.
and I feel like I had the best proof ever. But it was
Mhm.
beautiful because we came together at that table and we ate together and we broke bread together and we cried together and we got on each other's nerves like sisters do. But to see them now, it was all worth it. Every bit of it was worth it. All the tears, all the growing processes, every accounting thing when they checked our expense, it was all worth it. And I think in this live, I want women to know that the process is hard and it's ugly and it's messy, because you're unraveling
Mhm.
all the lies, all the trauma, all the abuse, the mentality, the poverty mentality, the way
Mhm.
we speak to each other, what we watch, especially as Black women, um, even just how we project ourselves overall. It was an unraveling happening with all of us. And when we unraveled and we shedded tears and we attended and we showed up to the things that we were supposed to do, I believe that because of that, we are all successful in our own way. Um, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. And so I just want women to know that wherever you are, if you submit to the process, there is beauty. There's so much beauty on the other side, and I get a chance to see that on my end. And so I'm grateful for Natasha House. I know I can't say it enough. I truly am grateful with a sincere heart, and I know that it was a God ordained ministry that God put together because of the way because of because it's a program. No other shelter that I know of, and I've even spoken at certain shelters to single moms, they don't have a 2-year program. Something Ms. Brown said at our appreciation breakfast, she said, how do you expect women to get on their feet in less than 6 months? That's impossible. You
So
know,
the one is 6 months.
yeah, a lot of places are like 6 months. A lot of places they're just shelters.
30
But
to
for Natasha
45
House,
days.
yeah, for is 2 years. You have time to
Mhm.
rebuild so that you can gain stability and be able to still come back to Natasha House if you need something, because there's still resources there. And I feel like there are times myself where I've tapped out and I had to humble myself again
Mhm.
and go to a place where it's like, hey, I need some help because life happened. And
Mhm.
to be able to do that is a beautiful feeling, and I hope to give that back to someone. Yeah, I do. So that's it. That's all.
My
I hope to answer your
goodness.
question.
You so also I did not know you had written a book. So we're gonna have to talk about that. So Miss Brown,
Yeah.
you are a source of hope for people. You are a source of love and compassion. And I'm just an outsider looking in, but I hope to not be an outsider. In fact,
You're not an outsider.
I didn't just be dropping in. No, I just be dropping.
And you can keep dropping in.
I just be dropping in. But whenever I do, I always feel like I'm
You
supposed to.
belong. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I always feel like this is cool. I'm supposed to be right here. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like so. But it's so man. So if you can move, you all are moving mountains, and you don't even you may realize it. But I'm just saying, you are moving mountains, and I'm sitting here. I almost kind of have chills because I'm not about to cry on my show. I hate when I have to do it.
It's okay.
No, but no. I just like, but what a powerful Audrey. What a powerful Audrey we have.
Yes.
And Miss Ken and Miss you, and then there are others. There are others that are just like Miss
Just like Audrey.
Yeah.
who are powerful in their own right.
In their own right.
This program, and they became their own superheroes.
Yes, absolutely.
It's amazing, and the love, and I get it too because I am, and I tend to maybe kind of gravitate toward excuse me, like warm hearts, and I'm really close to my mom and dad. I mean, they probably get sick of me. They can't miss me because I talk to them a couple times a day, and they're in Michigan. That's why I'm like, they don't miss me because I talk to them so often, but I'm not physically around them, so I miss them.
Yeah.
So I know what you're talking about, Audrey, because I met Miss Brown that first day. I was kind of like, I don't really want to go. Kind of just want to stay right here. So I know what you mean. Like I'm like,
yes.
I'm not gonna be sad if Miss Brown want to say, I'll adopt you while you're here. And I'll be like, okay.
Okay.
You know, like, but you do that for all the ladies.
Mm-hmm.
All the ladies. That's a lot of love you're just giving out.
His love. You know, his love never fails.
A lot of love to go around. And something funny and kind of like off topic, but on my radio show, I was talking about, and I didn't use your last name.
That's okay.
But I was talking about self-care, and I used your example. Here to go with the cost about dancing. And really enjoying yourself and getting into it because dancing and listening to music, man, the world can stop for a minute and you can just kind of like, you know.
I don't know about you, but I feel good. I don't know about you, but I feel good. Yeah.
See? That's how you do it.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
But yeah, I need to do that more often. I just sometimes I get sad that I know that's a lie. My kids criticize me and they think I'm not the very good dancer, but they don't know all the old school dances. So they don't
right. That's all. They don't know.
They don't know what they're talking about.
They don't know. And look, and don't care because it's like I'm not dancing for you anymore. I'm dancing for me.
It's for me.
For me and the Lord. You don't mind.
So people who are watching, I can't get rid of this tickle. I put the link for ways to give to Natasha House in the link, and you will see that link. There are ways to give and also ways to volunteer. Check out that website. There's so many things going on. And also, you guys are collecting shoes.
Yeah, gently used shoes.
Use shoes. Please go do that. Check out the website. Find the address if you're local. It's on the website, and just drop off your shoes. So I got my coworkers. We got a box started at my office, right outside my office. So we were like dropping off shoes. I don't know. The big boss is like, "What is this child doing?" But all the ladies are really sweet. Where I love them, and so they're dropping off shoes, but. It's a fun thing to get into. And in fact, I'm going to probably let my where I work, where I live, we have a community neighborhood like Facebook page. And everybody says everything on the community Facebook page. So I'm gonna let them know they can drop off their shoes at my house. I mean, you know. Yeah. But this has been so much fun.
Yes, it has.
We got Miss Audrey and Miss
Miss Audrey, the queen. The princess.
Audrey almost made me cry. Oh. Yeah. But I just love you all, and I just met you. And I know that you guys are doing great work. So keep doing the great work that we all need to participate in. And I think the more we share what you do, more people will want to participate. Because how do you not want to? How do you
Yes.
not? Because you're building like great citizens out here in the world.
Yes.
They know how to do stuff, you know, like so thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
You guys stay here, but we're gonna go off air. So thank you for coming to the live and check out
Thank
the website.
you.